Darcy McBride here for Battlefield Fight League, and I'm standing alongside the challenger to Maxime Soucy's featherweight title on February 8th, Radley de Silva. And Radley, we'll talk a little bit more about that matchup in a minute, but I want to let people know exactly who you are, being that you're the local side of this equation. And we know you were out of action for a fair amount of time. Last event out, came out, had a very impressive victory, but you're a former title holder in Rise FC. You have a win over the current unified MMA title holder in John Nguyen, and you're a person who was very highly touted before having to take that kind of unscheduled break. So Radley de Silva bouncing back in 2024, title shot right off the bat. What's the headspace like, man? What are you feeling, and are you ready for this opportunity on Fight Pass?
Yeah, I'm extremely grateful to be given the opportunity to fight for a Battlefield title once again. And this time I'm not going to be coming off a 6-year layoff like I did with my last title fight that I won in the second round. This time I'm coming off a few months. So definitely going there expecting to be loose, expecting to be comfortable, and put on a performance that my whole family is going to be proud of.
Speak about your whole family being proud. Of course, we have seen several family members, including your father, fighting in Battlefield Fight League. What's it like to kind of follow in the footsteps, but also be doing it a little differently and have that support from several levels of your family? Not every martial artist can relate to that.
Yeah, no, it was always written that I was going to be doing this since I was 5 years old, watching my dad fight in the ring and represent Capoeira. So I'm extremely blessed. I feel like I'm in the right space to breed a champion like myself, and I'm looking to take advantage of all the years and all the hard work my family's put into me.
The last fight where Maxime won that title was a hell of a fight with Willette. I mean, we saw back and forth grappling, a little bit of striking. Of course, we see that Ache Capoeira on the chest. Can we expect some real highlight, high-flying type stuff in a fight that's this, high risk for you? Or do we expect you to kind of maybe lean on some bread and butter things and show us a new side to Radley de Silva?
I mean, I've been doing it so long that the flashy stuff is part of my fundamentals now. So it's not really me having to force anything flashy. It's just me doing what I do. Fundamentals mixed in with the unorthodox stuff. And I expect a striker's delight in this fight because me and him both have very similar striking styles. I expect mine to be more martial arts based, not as much kickboxing. So I expect to be the tougher guy to figure out in there for sure.
A little earlier, you were doing some Q&A interviews with the brass with BFL, and I overheard some of the comments that he had, regarding your preparation and your fight style. You hear your opponent speaking about you like that, maybe critiquing and cutting you down. Is that a motivator? Is that I got something to prove? What is that kind of chatter from Maxime Soucy put into Radley de Silva's head?
It's just all part of the process. I mean, we're all human, right? We need to make things more real, I guess, for us, with the unknown. So he's just, taking everything, all the information he's been able to gather, putting it together and trying to form a picture of what he expects to see the night of. And it's, it's just all part of the process. So, no hard feelings towards him. He's a martial artist. He has coming from a good school. But I've been doing this since I was 5 years old too. So, and he's got a lot more footage for me to look over, for me to pick apart, to be able to get an advantage before the fight night.
Couple more things before we wrap up with you. Now, we mentioned several, your older generation, your father competing in BFL. And back in those days, we were shown on YouTube. We were online. We were doing all that. Nowadays, we got the UFC Fight Pass. We got the deal where all of you athletes are put on that same platform and that same exposure. What does it mean as an athlete knocking on the door of that big league to know that everybody important in that big league has a direct viewing sightline to action on February 8th? It's
extremely important. I was offered this title fight, and it was basically my mindset was it's now or never. I got to make it happen now because I'm not looking to take a fight, a build-up fight here, a build-up fight there. I'm looking to put myself at the top of the division with the most notoriety, and having the UFC Fight Pass be with Battlefield, it streamlines my route to get to the UFC. If I win this title, if I defend it a few times and have a decent record by the next time the contender comes around, I'm sure I'll get on there for sure. One final question, and it's one I've thrown at a couple of our athletes today that are in title fights. Obviously, on February 8th, you're trying to take what's his. He's trying to take what's yours, including your consciousness. However, if you and Maxime Soucy
are on an island in Hawaii with nothing but each other, and you're forced to get along and survive, what are you going to bring as a peace offering to break the ice and create a friendship where in an otherwise it would be a battle?
Maybe I'll show him some of my sweet techniques, man. He's a martial artist. He appreciates, technique. I'm sure I have some stuff that I could teach him. I'm sure he has some stuff he can teach me. So I don't think it'd be too hard for us to get along on an island. But definitely, trade some martial arts knowledge for sure.
All these other guys talked about food. You could tell everybody's already starting to cut weight. You apparently are not so far off your desired scale weight, sir. Fantastic. Get in the tackle box, share some techniques. You end up being teammates. So often in this game, you end up fighting somebody that becomes a teammate anyway. Hey, Radley, thank you so much, sir. All the best to you. February 8th, this man to my left, Maxime Soucy from TriStar. You are going to see one hell of a battle. 5 rounds, 145 pounds, our professional featherweight title. If you are not subscribed to UFC Fight Pass, I don't know what you're waiting for. Darcy McBride for Battlefield Fight League. Let's go.